You've been fooled all along. As outlined in a previous video, the settings under competitive master switch have not been implemented into FIFA 22, and we have all along been playing with settings which we have not even realized we are playing under. This, in my opinion, now that we know competitive master switch is irrelevant, is the best controller settings in FIFA 22.
Griezmann, 3 men around him to somehow find some space. Ronaldo, fantastic, opening the drive back.
He's made himself the tiniest bit of space.
Almost feels like a bit of a taunt. Didn't really go for him. Oh! Display there is absolutely ridiculous. The Elastico on the goal line. On the goal line, the finest.
We
of
talked about
margins.
Aussie Super. He's not here to make up the numbers.
It's time to jump into it. You guys have been pestering me to upload this video for you guys. The best controller settings without competitive master switch set to on. Now, I did briefly go over it in the introduction, but I'll do another quick snapshot for you guys. But if you haven't also seen the video which I uploaded, which is called This Changes Everything, which it does, then go and check that out, because it's a more in-depth version of what I'm about to explain to you guys. Basically, we thought we had been playing under competitive master switch because EA came out and they said you have to play with this setting on in all competitive game modes, whether it's FUT Champions, Division Rivals, Online Draft, whatever it is. When this is set to on, as you can see, the settings are preset. Okay, you have competitive master switch on, it's contextual agile dribbling off, auto clearances off, auto flare pass off, and so on. We also have jockey under manual, we have defending, tactical defending, we have through pass assistance, and FIFA trainer and time finishing and nets play switch indicator. They're all ones that we could determine, but the ones above you couldn't. What EA didn't actually tell us is there is a glitch. When you are playing in these competitive modes, these are not implemented into the game. What is implemented is the settings that you have set when competitive master switch is set to off, and this has been stuffing us around this whole year in FIFA 22. We thought we were playing with on, and those settings we weren't. We were playing with whatever we had set here, and look at this auto flare pass. It could have been set to off because you switched it off, not even knowing that that was going to be actually implemented into your competitive game. You could have had contextual agile dribbling on off and wondering, why the hell can I not dribble properly? And that is exactly why I'm going through my FIFA 22 settings post glitch in FIFA 22. Contextual agile dribbling, I have this set to on, and the reason being is because I can beat opponents one-on-one with the left stick. What I actually found is a lot of you guys were struggling to dribble at the start of the game, and that's because you would have had this set to off, and all along you could have had this set to on and were able to beat defenders. Now, if you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to actually dribble and beat defenders, there's a complete guide to left stick dribbling on the channel. Go and check that out. Okay, it's a very in-depth video on that. Very long, but very in-depth. Auto clearances I have set to on. This is handy because if you have a ball being put into the box and you don't have enough reaction time to clear it with the shoot button, the circle button, or if you're on Xbox, the B button, then the AI will sometimes auto clear it for you, and that will actually, at the end of the day, may just save you a goal and actually win you that game. Auto flare pass I have set to off. I don't want them doing flare passes when I want them to do a regular pass. This is very important, because if you want to do a regular pass into the midfield, however they're going to do an on pass where they flick it onto their foot and pass it into the player, it won't be as accurate as a regular A pass, or obviously X pass. So in that case, this has to be set to off in my opinion, so that you can avoid this from happening. Auto shots I have set to off, another important aspect for these settings, and that is because you don't want to be inside the box and you don't want to have your player automatically shooting for you when you're not in the correct position to do so. I've stressed to you guys plenty of times in tutorials that it is important that you get the angle for the shot on goal using possibly a skill move or maybe left stick dribbling. It's important that you get the angle and you bypass the defender's vicinity so that he cannot block the shot and you get that shot on goal in a proper position. But if you have this set to on, your player may just shoot when you don't want them to. Assisted headers is on. Super important, lads. We know how hard it is to aim headers this year, and that is because most of us would have had this set to off with our settings, and all along we could have had this set to on and we could have been scoring more goals with headers. If you want a more in-depth tutorial on how to aim headers, I do have that on my channel. Go and check it out, because I know a lot of you guys were struggling with this setting, but this will help us even more, especially when trying to score a header onto goal. Jockey I have set to manual. Very, very important, and that is because, and I have stressed this to you guys in previous defending tutorials, that you can control your players enough without having to have the AI assist you in defense. And the way you do that is by obviously holding down R2 and L2, and what you can do is, when you're jockeying with the attacker, you can move the stick, and as you get closer you can then slightly move it back. So you're moving it fully and then you're slightly moving it back to slow him down and align him with the attacker. This allows us to avoid just your regular L2 jockey, which I find is so slow this year. It is incredibly slow, and you can't adapt to the movements of the attacker. When you have it on speed jockey, which is by holding down L2 and R2 at the same time, and you control the movements of your player by slightly moving the stick, maybe fully moving the stick, and defending against the movements of the attacker, what I find is you don't need to have this on assisted, and at the end of the day you have a lot more control when you're jockeying when you have this set to manual. And I did iterate this in my jockeying tutorial. I said to you guys, do not use L2 regular jockey, use speed jockey R2 and L2. Through pass I have set onto assisted. This is important because you want the balls going through the areas which will allow your players to run onto it. It will give you a little bit more accuracy with that through ball, and especially the regular through balls are very, very inaccurate this year. They're inconsistent. They will go close to the defender, then they will to your attacker, and that's a problem. So if we have it set to assisted, it'll prevent the ball from going too close to the defender. FIFA Trainer, of course, I have set to hide time finishing is on, that's player switch indicator, on pass block assistance, on auto switching on air balls and loose balls, auto switching move assistance on high. We have directional for clearance assistance, player lock on, icon switching on, right stick switching, player relative, ground pass assistance on assisted. We have shot assistance on assisted. We have cross assistance on assisted. We also have lob pass assistance on assisted, safe assistance on assisted, and lob sprint on pass receiver lock late. We have user vibration feedback enhanced. We have trigger resistance off, and that is our settings. The reason why I went through that so quickly is because I have a complete settings tutorial with the settings that are not included in Competitive Master Switch on the channel. I've got my own controller settings on there. I give a more in-depth version of why I've selected all of these bottom ones on that tutorial or that video, whatever you want to call it, so go and check it out, lads. So there you have it. There is my complete controller settings for FIFA 22 post Competitive Master Switch glitch, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. You've been pestering me for this video and I've delivered it for you guys, so I hope you enjoyed it. And yeah, as always, I'll give myself a plug. I'm doing tutorials on Instagram and TikTok, so go and check them out. Links are in the description down below, and I shall talk to you guys over there. But as always, hope you have a good day. I'm out. Sayonara, au revoir, adios, salam, ciao. And you also might enjoy this video before I go, so go and check it out. And goodbye.